Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are back another day in the market, just getting everything set up here. What's up, who's here in the Kick chat? Always repping, I appreciate it. Like I told you, whether it takes 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whenever I blow up on Kick, I'm never gonna forget you. So I really appreciate it. And yeah, today's stream is packed. There are so many charts that it's not even I want you to see, you need to see. Like right now, there is so much setting up, I can't even explain. The only way I can explain it is by showing it to you, and that's what I'm going to do in the next half an hour. So I'm really excited across the board, like with so many different asset classes. There's a bunch of different things to talk about. We're pretty much getting towards the end of earnings season. We do have some small caps reporting over the next couple of weeks. The market just broke to new all-time highs today. Yes, I was wrong about that. Yes, I did lose some money on QQQ puts today, but I also made some money on Tesla calls. I started the day a little bit red with the QQQ puts. That just didn't play out because the QQQ broke that 430 level I was talking about, and I ended up stopping out of my QQQ puts in the morning, getting into some Tesla calls, and I sold maybe like 2/3 of the Tesla calls. I still have a little bit left going into tomorrow. And it was a nice 40 or so % profit on Tesla. So it was a regular day, you know, nothing too crazy. Hopefully tomorrow's better. But a lot of these charts are looking pretty juicy. So I definitely want to talk about that. We did have some earnings today. Baba reported earnings. It went down on earnings. Let's take a look at some of these just really quickly. Before we get into everything else, let's do a quick earnings update. Baba reported in the morning. It closed the day down 6%. Quick update on that. So they basically missed expectations and they boosted their buyback plan by $25 billion. Revenue rose 5% year over year. I'm just going to run through this really quickly. And I'm not seeing any EPS here unless I'm missing it. I'm not seeing it. So their digital commerce revenue jumped 44% annual, which that's actually very important. We obviously spent a lot of time talking about Chinese stocks last night. I'm going to do the same thing tonight. We got a lot of pullbacks on them today, probably related to this Baba earnings. Another name that reported earnings after hours. Wow, this was a pretty good looking chart heading into the earnings during regular hours, but it went up even more after hours is Disney, which spiked about 7% after hours. And let's see some of their key metrics. They reported $23.5 billion in revenue, and that was a year-over-year increase of just 0.2%, and EPS of $1.22. All right, which is much higher for the same period, which was 99 cents a year ago. So nice, very nice surprise on the EPS, just a slight surprise for the revenue. And the ESPN thing is pretty big. They have Hulu, so many different things. Let's see. Pretty much just slightly under expectations for number of paid subscribers on ESPN, but slightly higher for Hulu. Looking at their parks and experiences, slightly under, but it was a year-over-year change of 35% to the increase, or a 35% increase. So there was Disney. We also had Uber report today, which, let's see, I don't think it moved too much after hours, just very back and forth, but remained relatively flat. Wow, that's very, very interesting. Uber reported its first full year profit as a public company. This is something that a lot of people have talked about for a very long time. Uber's not, they don't even make profit. Like, they're not profiting. This was the first time they did a full year profit. Very, very interesting there. I'm not going to look too much into that because it didn't move a lot on earnings. There was other ones. There was CVS, and then there was PayPal. Just like I told a lot of you yesterday that I was going to get puts for the Snapchat earnings, but I didn't. I regretted that. I was actually thinking about getting calls for the PayPal earnings today, and I didn't, and I do not regret that because it went down on the earnings. So, you know, I was kind of biting my tongue about not getting puts when Snapchat fell 30% yesterday, but I'm also glad I did not get into PayPal calls like I thought about this morning because it did not go up. It went down on earnings. So PayPal reported as well. I mean, that was a big one. Key look at the metrics. $8 billion in revenue for the fourth quarter of 2023, representing a year-over-year increase of about 9%. And then EPS was $1.48 compared to $1.24 a year ago. There is one metric that's very key for PayPal, which is the total payment volume. And that came in at around 409 billion versus 403 billion. So this is probably the most important number when it comes to PayPal earnings. And I'm not sure what the expectations were for that, but the stock price did not react super well. So that's your quick earnings update. Before we get back into stocks and before I share a couple of stocks I'm really keeping a close eye on, I want to look at crypto and some other markets. These stocks, I'm going to show you the two stocks I'm really keeping an eye on. They relate to crypto, surprise, surprise. So we are going to start off with crypto, do a quick look into how certain markets are looking, and then we'll talk about the overall market. So first off, Bitcoin. This is not really a wedge. You don't really have enough touches for it. What you mainly broke out of, if we go over to the 4-hour, was this triangle pattern that I charted out. And thankfully, I forgot who it was. Somebody on like maybe last night's stream or the one before asked me to go look at different time frames on Bitcoin except for just the daily, and I was able to spot this. And if it can hold gains for another 2 hours, you can get a 3 white soldiers candle pattern on the 4-hour here. Very nice breakout above that resistance. It hasn't been able to break that since January 12th, and you were able to do that today. So the run continues for Bitcoin. We talked about the weekly as well last night and how I like that lower wick on the candle here. Bitcoin looking very interesting. Ethereum getting a nice move away from that demand line, continuing higher. That triple hidden bullish divergence on the MACD is playing out. And then Solana, I mean, look, even if we just rechart this, it's retesting a breakout of this downsloping channel. Look, this is exactly the type of pattern you want to see after a parabolic uptrend. It's a major bull flag with hidden bullish divergence, and Solana's got one. So I think this could, I mean, if this fully plays out, 143 could be on the table in 2024 for Solana. It's possible. We will see. So that's your quick crypto update. In terms of treasuries, not much of a move. In terms of metals, not much of a move. Gold just getting towards the end of this triangle. And then in terms of the dollar currency index, not much move. So not too much going on in other markets. Let's move over into China, which currently has just opened, but opened flat. Yesterday gapped up and then went down to fill the gap. But we saw today a lot of the ADRs in the US market didn't have such a great day. But again, they went up a lot more in the past 3 days than they fell today. So if we look through some Chinese stocks really briefly, like NIO broke out of this wedge yesterday on volume. It just had an inside day today. But yeah, it was down 3%. If we look at BILI, it was down 5%. But it ended up, it basically just gapped down from $10 down to $9.50 and then closed a quarter higher at $9.75-ish. So the candles are not that bad. BIDU, Baidu, still at the end of this wedge. So really not too much of a change. We already kind of looked at BABA, but it was one of the swings and now it's just back to where it was alerted. It's still outside of the wedge. What I really wanted to see, and we were starting to get it just before the edit, I think I just froze for a second. We're good. Was a break above 77. It just didn't get it. So now we can move into the US stock market and talk about how I was wrong. Yes, on the Qs I did get puts yesterday, and no, they did not work out. So if we go down to lower time frames, go down to here, the 15-minute, we gapped up. You know, there really wasn't much I could have done. And I saw us gap up, and then immediately we started selling off of this 430 level, right? That's your key resistance level from January 24th, February 2nd, February 6th. We gapped up to level and started rejecting it, but then bulls were able to regain control, and around 10 a.m. EST, you broke above it and you spent the rest of the day above it. So I did stop out once we broke above that level, somewhere in this range, and yeah, you pretty much got a breakout above this zone on the QQQ and a backtest. I was not expecting this to happen. I was wrong about it, and I cut my loss when I figured out I was wrong. If we do zoom out, you still have classic bearish divergence on the 1 hour, but I will now say that I'd say the Qs are bullish above 430 now. So as long as you can keep holding 430 was a level you couldn't break for the last 2 weeks. You broke it today. As long as you stay above it, it looks okay. Forget about the divergence for a second. You still have that potential classic bearish divergence, but I would worry about that more if/when you break 430. Until then, you just broke to new all-time highs after consolidating for a couple of weeks. There could be more fuel. You even kind of got a back test today. Not too bad. If we move over to the SPY, green day as well. And remember, I did not say last night I was bearish on the SPY or the IWM or the ARK ETF or anything else. It was just the Qs looked bearish to me, and that was really it. And once it broke above 430, that my idea was invalidated. It was a 0.5% stop, and it went 0.5% higher pretty much at the open with the gap up. So the SPY also gapped up. If we go down to lower time frames, you pretty much just had a strong first hour to the day and then slightly trended higher throughout the rest of the day. Not much of a pattern, not much of a read going into tomorrow. I'm not really seeing anything to really talk about. To be fair, this 5-minute triangle breakout yesterday, even though it didn't have enough time to play out yesterday by itself, it played out beautifully today. And I would say the key level you want to hold above now is going to be 496, which was your previous all-time high from the 2nd of this month. All right. You know, maybe tomorrow this starts to develop a little bit more. If you want some more like shorter term levels for the SPY, you've got a little bit here at 496.82, and then a little bit of one here at pretty much 498, which you just closed above. But you're just chopping around that, so I really wouldn't include it. I would probably just rather mark today's high and just see which way you break tomorrow. So that's the SPY. Moving over into the Russell 2000. Slightly red day today. The daily looks the same. The 4 hour looks the same. I mean, I guess on the 1 hour you broke out of the wedge, but not much happened. And then you could also forget about that wedge breakout. You could have a bear flag breakdown. So another coin flip scenario here on the Russell. So these indices they're not giving too clear of a reading, but there are some individual names I want to take a look at. All right. And the first one out of the two that I really want to mention, they're both very similar. The first one is Coinbase. All right. First of all, let's start off on the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, Coinbase has classic bullish divergence, right? Classic bullish divergence on the 4 hour. I know Zeke was also talking about this. You got the bullish divergence on the RSI and the MACD. You also got a 4 hour bullish pin bar candle today, right? Now, if we go over to the daily, well, actually, even before we do that, you also have some support here. Let's draw out the zone. Look at that 4 hour support zone. Once you broke above this level at 115, you flipped it into a support. It was your first like decent candle pullback on November 30th. You flipped that level into support, and then you trended higher. We then came back down to that level. We bounced off of this level right over here, and then today. So that's your 4 hour on Coinbase. If we look at the daily, you've got a bullish pin bar candle as well. You've got hidden bullish divergence. So 4 hour classic bullish divergence implies a reversal of the short-term downtrend to the upside, and then daily hidden bullish divergence on both oscillators implies a continuation of the long-term move to the upside. So two different variations of bullish divergence on two major time frames. And again, like I mentioned, I believe last night on stream, if we go from, I think it was these lows, which lows was it? It might have been this one. Yeah, if we go from this low you put in October of last year, this $115 support level it just bounced off of today is also your 618 golden retrace Fibonacci. And this $115 level on Coinbase is this high from the end of July of last year and then August of 2022. So Coinbase right now, as long as it keeps holding 115, could be poised for that. Another similar name is Mara. Now I already did alert a swing on Riot, and Riot itself looks good. The swing is back in profit. It pretty much hit the pattern completion zone of a bullish bat and made a higher low. As long as it stays above $10, Riot looks great to me. Mara also is a name I did not alert a swing on, but I wanted to give it a mention. If you take a look at this 1430 level, it used to be resistance, it flipped into support, and now again you're making a higher low here. All right, if we go over to the 4-hour time frame, got a little bit of a bullish wedge, falling wedge forming here. All right, or just a down sloping channel. Again, the bullish pin bar / bullish engulfing candle. Hidden bullish divergence setup. No harmonic here, but like I said, we started off the stream. Bitcoin just got a major breakout on the 4-hour chart. No wonder Coinbase and Mara and Riot are starting to look very interesting after pulling back quite a bit. They had very good rallies at the end of last year, and then they pulled back a decent amount, and now they're looking very interesting once again. So we will see how those continue to develop. Unfortunately, just going over the swing trades, we already just looked at Riot, which is now up 3%. The gold swing did fail, 13% stop. And like I said, the Baba swing just fell back to where it was alerted. So those are really the swing updates. There are a few more names flying under the radar I wanted to mention tonight. All right, Hood, just double bottomed, slightly above the 200-day moving average. Hidden bullish divergence on the MACD. And then I guess this is like a dragon pattern here. So you got a dragon pattern on Robinhood. And these two lows also line up with this gap fill from December 6th. Okay. Another interesting name. These are just like smaller stocks. US just got a bullish engulfing candle breakout above the 200-day moving average. It's your first day closing above it since you broke under it almost a month ago. So QS is another interesting name. Another one, if you want one, Beyond, it's at this wedge, it's retesting its previous all-time lows. It's got hidden bullish divergence. And then another one, GameStop, is pretty much in this down-sloping channel with classic bullish divergence. Let me make these lines orange so it doesn't look all confusing. That's the wrong orange. Here we go. So those are 4 other names that, they don't look as good to me as Coin and Mara, but I just wanted to mention on the stream tonight. I think Hood really does look interesting here. It is technically just range bound overall, but this could be what gives it a bump to maybe break out above 13. All right, so we will see what happens. Those are just some names I wanted to mention. Let's look into some large caps quickly. Apple, flat day today, not much to mention there. Let's see. Microsoft up 2%. I was not expecting this. Same thing like on the whole entire thing I said about the QQQ. Wasn't thinking this was going to happen. It just gapped up and went higher. So you're retesting all-time highs on Microsoft. Nvidia bullishing again. You had a pretty bearish candle yesterday. Doesn't matter. Bullish engulfing today. I was wrong there too. AMD lives to fight another day in the triangle. Qualcomm. Zoom out here. I mean that one. It's probably like 150. That 150-ish area is a big resistance, so I don't like it under that area. Google up 1%, not much of a change there. Amazon, not much of a change. Netflix, not much of a change. So yeah, I did highlight a few names tonight. Keep an eye on those. Futures are currently flat. We will see what happens tomorrow. I wasn't even gonna live stream tonight, but I just really wanted to talk about those names I just mentioned and give you all the heads up. Again, nothing's confirmed. Anything can fail, just like the QQQ idea last night failed. But as long as we're right more times than we're wrong, that's really what matters. So I appreciate the support. Shout out to Dustin, Zach, AK, Max, Silent On, and Infinite in the chat, and everybody watching the replay. I know I'm very inconsistent with the times in which I stream. Just a very crazy schedule right now. I really do appreciate all the support. There still is that final lifetime spot. If anybody wants it, it's in the announcements channel. It's also the pinned chat in the YouTube chat. Let's see. Can I drop it in the Kick chat? I guess I can just do it this way. If anybody in the Kick chat is interested, there's one spot left. This gives you lifetime access to premium. Lifetime is usually $1,000, and this is 35% off. It also gives you lifetime access to my algo that's going to be coming out later this year. So you don't have to pay for that ever. You're getting 2 in 1 for 35% off, just one. So the just one is premium, which you're getting 35% off, and then you're getting a whole other thing on top of that, which is the algo. And then you get another bonus thing on top of that, which is a 4-hour workshop recording that I did with some amazing traders, Bueller Trades and Ace the Kid. It's a 4-hour recording on how to day trade. You get all 3 of those things for one price. That's already 35% off just the price of premium. So it's literally almost the same price of an annual, and you get access as long as premium is a service. And if anybody's interested, there's literally 1 spot left. We already filled out all the other spots. I'm literally taking it off the website until this summer. Once this spot is taken, if one of the 15 people watching right now wants to take it, you're the lucky man or woman. And with that being said, have a great night. Thank you for the support. I love doing these streams. And yeah, I will see you all on the next one.